the way to the White House. Feel the burn, make them feel the burn. Till the haters on the right, they can feel the burn, make them feel the burn. All the way to the White House. Feel the burn, make them feel the burn. Till the haters on the left, they can feel the burn. You see him scared shook, he's a democratic socialist, but they don't even know what it means, they just roll with it. Get over it, check the resume, fighting for civil rights ever since the first day.
I want to say that this is my second stop so far in North Carolina, and I am really, really impressed with the activity, with the energy, and with the enthusiasm that's going on here in North Carolina. Do y'all feel that? How many of you are ready to see a President Bernie Sanders? Seeing people that are willing to, for the first time ever, many times, take part in not just voting, not just being involved, but doing work, right? Picking up phones, knocking on doors, stuffing envelopes, going on Facebook every day. And that is turning into a movement that I'm just proud to be part of, right? How many of you all, is this your first time being involved in a political movement? Wow. Look at that. Look around those hands. Give them up. Let's see the hands again. I want to hear a little bit. I want to hear a story about why this time. Why now did you decide this is the time to be involved? Sir, can you tell me?
Because history always proves things out. And you look back at black and white pictures, and you see people who, I wonder about that person whose grandmother is in that picture spitting on a little black girl going to school. And I wonder why my dad didn't march himself. And I wonder why, it wasn't that big a deal. We always get shined on. It seems like it's shined on. And Bernie Sanders for the first time seems just genuine. This is where the data's in. You can be passionate with your opinion, but the data's in. And he's not for sale, so I'm buying it.
Absolutely.
For me, it was basically what he said. Bernie Sanders is the first candidate I've ever encountered. He's not for sale.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
Absolutely. What are we going to do? Well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to win some elections, right? We've got primaries coming up. And the way the primary process works is first we have Iowa. In February, they have a caucus in Iowa. We're doing pretty well there. We're within the margin of error. We've gone from about 4% is what we were started out in Iowa. 4%. And now we're up as high as 40 depending on the poll, right? In South Carolina, we were doing hardly at all. We've doubled in the past 25 days. We're up to mid-30s now in South Carolina. In large part due to this phone banking that I'm going to tell you about. Because we've been calling, identifying voters in South Carolina. Our ground team there has been knocking on doors, persuading voters, and we've been able to make a difference. We've been able to change the perception of the voter in South Carolina. In New Hampshire, we're 14 points up, right? 14 points up. We've gone from 3% of African American support to mid-30s now. So this campaign is, we've got momentum, we've got, we've got the enthusiasm, we've got some money now. We still don't have enough to compete with super PACs in traditional ways. We're not going to be able to flood the airways in Iowa or New Hampshire. We're going to have to do it in a different way, right? We're going to do it because Peter's going to get on the phone and he's going to talk to people in Iowa. We're going to do it because you all are going to get on the phone and you're going to talk to people in New Hampshire, right? And then those people are going to turn out on February the 1st, February the 8th, and they're going to change this. And this momentum is going to carry over into the rest of the primaries, right? Having seen all the enthusiasm in Asheville and the enthusiasm nationally, we just had 36,000 people, I think, over about 10 days show up in Iowa to Sanders rallies. 30-some thousand people. Now, the other candidates, not so much. They have a couple of hundred. Mark O'Malley, poor guy, had one person. One person came to his town hall. It's two. It's not good, but but we're gonna, like I say, so we've got this enthusiasm building, we've got this momentum building, but it's time to push. It's beginning of January. We've got a couple of weeks now that we're going to spend really pushing this effort. So we want to see a political revolution, right? We want to see President Sanders. I hate public speaking, right? But here I am, outside of my comfort zone. A lot of people hate making phone calls, right? But Yeah. But that's what's going to win. And we've got some really great tools. We've got some really interesting volunteer. Like, has anybody here ever been to map.berniesanders.com? Let's see some. Have you been to the? Have anybody ever been to that? All right. That was built by volunteers. There's the dialer that we've been using. Does anybody get a text message or a phone call about this event today? Volunteers. They're doing all this work, right? We've got Jake, one of the local leaders here in Charlotte's going to speak with us. And then I'm going to come back and tell you what we need specifically from you and how you're going to help win Iowa on February the 1st. All right, thank you.
Hey folks, how you doing today? Good to hear. Hi, like Corbin, I hate speaking in public, so bear with me.
Here for it, Jay.
Thank you. Couple things real quick. My name's Jacob Ribbett. A lot of you have probably seen emails coming from me periodically, or you've seen us kind of blasting things on social media. I work with a local group that we started up in about around August. And since then, that group has grown to, I can tell you guys, over 400 emails locally. We have a communication tool we use that the campaign uses called Slack, and we have like over 130 people on that. And there's just a lot of growth and a lot of support locally, and we've been able to kind of set things up and provide this infrastructure to make your jobs easier when you're like, I want to do something for Bernie. I want to see this guy get elected. What can I do? Well, you know, a lot of people have never done that, which is probably most of you here, because like you, I never did anything political. I voted, but that was about it. I wasn't that interested. I felt like it was the lesser of two evils most of the times. And then when I learned about Bernie, on top of the fact that I looked at the kind of the future of where we're going and what we need to do to survive as not just a nation but as a world, I was like, all right, all these other candidates, this is a time that I have to, if I'm going to do something that's meaningful to me in my life and to those, you know, to my kids or something like that. I don't have any kids. But you know, if I have those, it would be important to put somebody like Bernie in place. And I'm sure many of you standing here or sitting here thinking that yourselves had that same decision, and that's why you're out here, even though you've never done anything political before. It's not that hard, but it'll be that much easier if we can make it. If you're on Facebook, if you have the Facebook app, and you haven't joined the Facebook group that we tend to send a lot of the events out through and a lot of information out through, that group name, it's pretty simple. It's just what our group name was, but then you add volunteers in there. It's Charlotte Volunteers for Bernie Sanders. So some of you may already be a part of that group. Some of you may not. It's an open public group. So you still have to say, I want to join. And we said, okay, that's cool. You're in. But that's Charlotte Volunteers for Bernie Sanders. And these special events that you see over there, it's very important that we let people know in Charlotte that Bernie has support. A lot of you probably have met people and they said, they don't know who Bernie Sanders is. I remember dropping off some flyers at a business and they're like, oh, this guy running for mayor? And I was like, but you know, it gave me a chance to, of course, speak about Bernie a little bit. They liked what they heard, of course. The ones that I would say are going to be the most important, Martin Luther King Day Parade is happening in Uptown Charlotte. A lot of people might have been planning to go. I say, go and walk in it, because we're going to have a group going. And that group, the bigger the better. The more people they see. I don't know who all saw the Rose Bowl parade. Anybody see that? Yeah. That turnout was insane. I mean, they had tons. I mean, they had more Bernie supporters than they had anything else at that parade, I want to say. The president of the local Young Democrats. I'd like for him to just say a quick piece and say his thing.
Thanks, Jake. So, I'm Ray McKinnon, and I am president of Young Democrats in Mecklenburg County. And I have become a very outspoken supporter of Bernie Sanders precisely because beyond being a Democrat, I'm a progressive. I'm a person who believes that in America, every person should be treated equally, every person should be welcomed, every person should be loved, and God bless Hillary Clinton. I worked for her back in the day when she was running, but somebody talked about the party leaving us. She is a person who, I have to be careful with what I say. I've gotten in trouble once before. I didn't leave Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton left me. When I think about The things that Bernie Sanders didn't come late to the party to, like prison reform, which under the Clintons was the terrible things that affect my community. Jake said he didn't have kids. I have kids. I have 3 kids. And I have kids who, by nature of how they look, can be stopped. And the police can just do whatever they want. Just tough on crime. Tough on crime often translates on tough on minorities. And we need somebody who speaks to that from the core of who he is. And that's Bernie Sanders. For me, and you know, like Matt said, I am a member, I'm a leader of the Democratic Party. It's what we have. It's the system we've been given, so instead of looking from the outside saying how much it sucks, I decided, hey, we're going to get involved and do something. Because if the only folks who are there are the establishment, are the mushy middle folks, our party will just deteriorate. But we need people who are progressives, who say, you know what? This is the Democratic Party. I can do something to change it. Here's the fun thing. I'm a county executive committee member. I'm a state executive committee member. So when resolutions come that determine the direction of this party, I can stand up and you can stand up as progressives saying, you know what? That doesn't represent us. And if there are more of us than there are of them, guess what happens? Just like what happens in the Republican Party. It goes far right. Not that we want to go far left, but we want it to be fair for all people. We want the Democratic Party to have some distinction between the Republican Party. We want them to say that the folks who give money are not the ones who determine where we're going. It's our principles, it's our values, and that's who Bernie Sanders is. That's what Bernie Sanders stands for, and that's why I'm so excited to stand with him. Continue to do what you're doing for Bernie. Continue to speak loudly and proudly your progressive values, as we all will, and know that this is not a flash in the pan. Bernie Sanders has awakened a generation like even President Obama, who I love, did not.
One of the reasons why I support Bernie Sanders is because Bernie keeps talking about political revolution. And to me, that means not just electing a president, but making sure we have a strong Democratic Party from the ground up. So, I'm going to be real brief. Part of what I'm doing for this campaign is I'm helping to get precincts in our county organized so that we grow our Democratic Party and we get more Bernie Sanders Democrats represented within our county, within our state, and hopefully within our DNC. I know a lot of people are asking, what is a precinct? Precinct is the smallest organizing block of the Democratic Party. It's the base of our party. It's what builds the party from the ground up. And to think of how large a precinct is, think about your street, and maybe a few streets to one side, maybe a few streets to the other side. It's basically your neighborhood. So when we're talking about organizing a precinct, what we're really asking you to do is talk to your neighbors. Get your neighbors together and get your precinct organized as a group of Democrats. I have some more information in the back with lists of which precincts in our county are currently organized, which ones are not. And if you live in a precinct that's not, I really want to talk to you before you leave today.
So what I need you to do is think about over the next 2 weeks, what day you have a couple of hours, and what day you got some space, and then we're going to have you put your hands up and say, yes, I'm willing to volunteer to host a phone bank. And we're going to have the volunteers bring you these sign-in sheets. We're going to get you to fill out the information with the date, the time, the location, the address. And then next, we're going to say, okay, if you're not willing to host, maybe you're willing to attend. Right? So we're going to divide out into those areas like we talked about once we've got our hosts. And then we're going to sign up with those areas. Okay? So we can get these sign-in sheets to you. Wow, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 so far. We got any time over the next 2 weeks. If you've got some space, if you've got Wi-Fi, then you've got all you need to take part in this political revolution. So let's see. We've got. Let's get the hands back up again. Make sure you get your sign-up sheets. All right, fantastic. So again, all right. So we've got 7 or 8 phone banks that have been created. It looks like, and if anybody changes their mind and wants to do another one too, just throw your hand up and volunteer or get the sign-up sheet. You've got, the headquarters is hosting phone banks, like Jake told us, and those phone bank event days and times are on the back. There's canvassing, there's the Light Brigades, there's the MLK. You've got tons of options in this community to be active, tons of ways to be active. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask that the people that have volunteered to host, once you get your forms filled out and you get your all that done, find your spot, whether you're in the north, the south, city center, wherever you're at, and then the people. Now, how many of you that aren't necessarily ready to host are willing to attend? How many of you are willing to support your neighbors? Look at that. Look at this.
Click on that, it'll take you right in. Anybody need help? Nothing here. No, this was just to help coordinate and